Right. Yeah. I was wondering about the double peaks I was getting on my waveform. You can't really see it properly, but uh, I'm actually getting two peaks. There's one there, and then there's one just behind it. Um, I was trying to understand why, and I figured it out. So you can't really see it very well on that particular trace because I've been trying to trim it out and get rid of it, you see. But so what I'm going to have to do is change my core material, because what's happening is, let me just get my camera set up on here and I'll show you what the problem is. Right, hang on, see if my camera's going to get this in. This stand isn't very good. Let's see if that's gonna. Right, okay, I'm in camera, so right. So the core material is currently what I'm using is the ferrite cores, which are these rings. What I discovered was it was causing my double peak problem. This is one of my coils. Now, if you get my magnet array, we've got two sticking points. There's one there. If I push it slightly, and there's another one there. It's not showing you very well. Let me just elevate that a bit. Hang on a sec. Right, if I just elevate the magnets a bit, because they need to be in the middle really to show you this properly. I'll just get this. Right, that should. Actually, that's a bit too thick now. Damn it. I should have another thin one in it. Let's see. Yeah, this is the thin one. These are thin wedges I made. Right, that's a bit low, that's better. Right, so what's going on is, obviously these magnets aren't the ones being used in the rotor drum, but I could show you the rotor drum as well in a minute. But what we have is a sticking point there and a sticking point there, and I'll show you what I mean. So if I hold that rigid, and, oh, I'm trying to stop my coil moving as well. Right, if I just flick this, you'll see that it stops at that point, and if I push it a bit further, it stops at that point. So there's that point and there's that point. There's two sticking points basically. I'll get my rotor drum so it might be able to show you a bit better with that. Oh no, I can't do it with it. Oh yes I can. Hang on a minute. I think I can. Yeah. Right, if I get a rotor drum. Damn it. Oh. I hate fighting with magnets here. Causing me problems. Right, here's a rotor drum. Now, stick this in between the rotor drum. Get my coil. Now, as it rotates, I've got 2 points where, I don't know if it's going to show you this actually. I don't know if it will show you properly. I need to put it on a dry shaft really, but it will sit there. Oops. It will sit at that point, and it will also sit at that point. So I've got 2 points, 2 sticking points basically for this thing. Hang on a minute. Let's see if I can put it on a stand. So I'm just gonna. I'll knock it, need to knock it back a bit. Hopefully this will be able to show what's going on. Oops, flipping bearing not on properly, hang on. Right, let's see, is this run free enough? I think so. Right, so if we get my, this is going to jump up, I'm not careful. So, with the existing coil, we have, it'll sit, actually it's not showing it very well on here. It's not showing it too well on here, but there is definitely two sticking points in between there. There's two pulses on the entry and exit. Oh, well that doesn't show it too well. So go back to the magnet because it shows it a lot better because we're sticking to the outside ring on each side, you see. So what I've come up with is going back to an earlier design of my laminations, which are in this. I've stuck them in this bobbin. Anyone that's been following my YouTube videos will remember when I had these laser cut laminations, and they're actually, I've got them inserted and it's basically shaped like a star shape, but the laminations have got a slot all the way around. Now what these will do is focus the flux central. I'll stick it in this bobbin like this so I can show you what I'm on. It will keep the flux focus central so that it's stick it behind here, get my magnet. I've got this right way around. Oh, actually I want it the other way around. So what happens now is that the magnet will stick in the centre. If you don't know what I mean, if you can see that, it's dead centre. Hold it right in the middle. So instead of it being sticking to the sides, which it won't do now, it will only go to the centre. I'll be trying to do this vertically. So I'll push it up, push it down. It will only stick in the middle. So in fact, instead of having two pulses when it's spinning, I'll only have the main one, which is the one I want in the middle, which means that when I tune my Triac, not my MOSFET, my Triac, well it's technically two MOSFETs back to back, isn't it, a Triac? So, well, anyway, so because of this other configuration, I'll get a lot more flux focused in the central point, and it'll be more effective. And I'll get my magnetic gauge, which is this thing here, which I've got a magnet one way around, so get my magnets around. So there's my magnetic gauge showing the flux on the, I don't know if you can see that very well. So that shows the flux there. Now if I'm just trying to hold this all, if I move the magnet out of the way, like this, it loses grip completely at this point. There's no grip on it at all at that point there. So if I turn it around, you'll see it pulls that in. Now, the good thing about this is that when the rotor's moving, there'll be a better release and less drag ultimately, because instead of having two sticking points, I'll only have one. That's been causing me some problems. So, I mean, another way to show you this is to get my core out, take my core out, this thing out of here. Just push it out there a minute. Another way to show you this is a lot easier, really. So if I stick this, hang on, stick my magnet underneath and put my core on top, you'll see this really well. You'll see how it sticks right in the middle. There. Right? The magnet's underneath. So we have a lot of pull in the middle. Now watch what happens when I'm just going to hold the plastic, not the magnets. Look what happens when I come over here. There's virtually no grip at all. Oh, it pulled the magnet along, you see, that's how much. Now if I go across here to this point, there's no grip, virtually none at all at this point. To try and demonstrate that, the magnets are probably going to move. Yeah, they're going to move. But it's not going to cause the magnets to lift up, it's going to cause them to move towards tilt or at an angle, because there's very little vertical force at this point. Go a bit further. Right, at this point here, there's no vertical, there's no force at all. Oops! But there is some lateral force, but very little. So this means at this point there's going to be virtually no drag. But when we get to this point, let me just move this along slightly, you'll see it starts to move, and then it pulls to the centre. Right. Because of the steel laminations effectively create a lensing effect. It's focused in the central point, but as we move to the outer perimeter, there's no force at all vertically, just some lateral. There's a little bit of lateral force, which is what we would call drag. So at this point here, I'm tapping it. Now if what I need to do is stick the magnet down really. So I'm just going to super glue this magnet down onto this rubber, because I just don't want it flying around on me. It's my experimental thing anyway, so I'm not worried about that. It won't stick to the magnets very well, it'll easily come off, but it should hold them in place while I'm doing this experiment. Right, so but no vertical, but if I put that there, it will shoot to the middle, and now it's pulling, which you can see how strong that is in the middle, very strong. But at this point, very little. You can see I can tap it, but I can't tap it when I get to here, so this is where it grips. Right. I can't bang these other cores around because these are ferrites and they'll shatter if I'm not careful, so I use this same thing. Now with this one, you can see it sticks there. Move it along a bit and it sticks there, it's sticking in two places. So if I move that, you'll see it move and it sticks there like that. And if I go it from the other side, it sticks at this end, and unless I push it a bit further, it'll go to the next sticking point, which is there. This is the problem I'm having with my waveform at the moment. The waveform's got two peaks, and this is why. Because it's picking up the outer core of the ring, whereas my laminations don't allow that to happen because of the shape. Because all the focus is, the lensing effect is in the centre. That's where the strong part is on these particular layouts, is in the middle. So it can only stick in the middle, right? Because the outside, it gets weaker there, it tapers off as it goes. So it tapers off from the centre point to the edge, and it also does this, centre point to the edge. So it'll only stick in the middle. There's a slight, obviously, there's a bit of a error amount around the centre point, so you get it'll stick around the central axis point, but it's not on the outside rim like it is with the ferrites. It's not on the perimeter of the ring, it's in the middle. So that gives me that will give me a much better waveform. So anyway, I thought I'd explain that, because I originally built these laminations for the rotary disc system, which was that one. Oops, knocking everything on the floor. Which was that one. So if you remember when I built this one, well, it's disassembled now. I had these V laminations, and I was using my laminations inside this slot here, inside the bobbin. So the bobbins will sit inside there, and I'm using all the same sizes, so I don't have to keep changing designs, so I can just adapt and use existing parts. But these were the original things that went inside here, and I had my bobbins on there. These wheels were just to stop these rotors from bashing into the laminations. That's why I got little wheels on there. It was just to keep them. But this design, I tried my best with it. It was just inferior because there wasn't enough flux, because of the disc system just didn't work out very well. But it was something I wanted to try anyway. I don't know where the other my original adjustable. I made some adjustable ones of these, and they were grey. I don't know. I'll put them now. I think they're in the other room actually. But anyway, so just a little update on my next phase, which is to pop out my ferrite rings on my generator, which is I'm going to leave the rings at the back end, so the rings are going to be at the back of the coils, so it will be sorry, I'm not focusing on my camera at the same time. Oops. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this thing at the front. I can get the damn thing in there. So I'll have this thing at the front, and then I'm going to have a ferrite ring at the back. That way my lensing will be focused even better. It will be focused at the front end. Then my coupling will go all the way through the ferrite rings at the back end there, and it will keep the focus just right. Anyway, that's what the next plan is. We should see some improvements on the anti-drag system, and it's working very well at the moment. The supercapacitors are fully charged right now, but I'm at 67 milliamps, which is not bad, because normally I would be around 40 at 13.2 volts on the supercapacitors. I would be around 40 milliamps or 30 milliamps at this point, which is inefficient, because the LEDs on that thing up there, which you can't see because those LEDs on that thing use about 30 milliamps. The circuit board uses 30, so I wouldn't be charging, you see. I'll be just driving the LEDs. But with anything over 60, it's going to charge. So anything over 40, it's going to charge actually. Anyway, that's all for now. I've got 4 of these already made, these lamination things. I've got 4 of them already made, and I'm going to have to make some more. I've got plenty more of the steel laminations still in the panel, which I've got to pop out, and I've got to make some more of these grey things. Well, they're not going to be grey next time, they'll be green. So I've got to make some more of them, and then we're about to see the difference that we get with the new circuit. It'll be very interesting to see how the laminations perform, and I'm already seeing really good results with this thing as it is, and very little change in my RPM when it's loaded to being unloaded. So we should see an even bigger improvement with the these different cores. So thank you for watching.